Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Transfermarkt TV International. As the French say, rien n'y va plus. The winter transfer window is closed and thus every player and every club has to settle with what they have until summer. Well, of course, we take a look at what happened until deadline day last Friday, but we start the show with some milestones that some players reached during last weekend's action in the leagues. The youngest La Liga player ever to score twice in one match, Ansu Fati, the Barcelona left-wing talent, essentially helped his team to win 2-1 at UD Levante by scoring both goals, both on assists from Messi. At the age of 17 years and 94 days, he has set another record for the ages now in La Liga after already becoming the youngest Barca player ever to score in one match. Fellow Spaniard David De Gea also recorded a milestone in his career. The 29-year-old Manchester United goalkeeper played his Premier League game number 300 for the Red Devils. Not too successful though. Manchester only took 1 point from the game with Wolverhampton, but De Gea at least had his 106th clean sheet in Premier League action in the 0-0 draw. The Spanish international arrived at Old Trafford in summer 2011 from Atletico Madrid on a €25 million transfer fee. And at number 3 to make it 3 times in a row, Dortmund's winter acquisition Erling Haaland. The 19-year-old Norwegian scoring sensation had 2 more goals in Bundesliga action as Borussia won 5-0 against Union Berlin last weekend. Goals number 6 and 7 in just 3 matches in Germany's first tier see Haaland surpass the now former joint record holders with 6 goals in their first 3 games, Paco Alcácer, who just left Dortmund on a winter transfer, and Charlie Dörfel, who netted 6 times in the Bundesliga inaugural season 1963 for his team Hamburg. Incredible 7 goals so far for Erling Haaland, who left RB Salzburg for Dortmund on a moderate €20 million transfer fee. He now is the top scorer of the top 15 leagues in Europe, where we accumulated goals and assists. In just 25 games for Dortmund and Salzburg, Haaland has 43 scoring points. He is ahead of Robert Lewandowski, the goal-scoring leader in the Bundesliga for Bayern München, who had 28 games with 36 goals, and Timo Werner, also from Bundesliga team RB Leipzig. He has 35 scoring points in 28 games. Only at number 10, Lionel Messi, 24 games with 31 scoring points. We head now to the biggest segment of our show, which without a doubt has to be the winter transfer period ending last Friday, and we take a look and have a recap about the big winter signings that we saw, starting with the Bundesliga, where neither Borussia Dortmund is the number 1, surprisingly, even though they spent, as you can see here on the right, a lot of money, €20 million on Erling Haaland, and also added German international Emre Can from Juventus, nor RB Leipzig, who in the middle acquired Spanish midfielder Dani Olmo from Zagreb. It is Hertha BSC. They meant business in winter by paying €78 million in transfer fees, one of them being Krzysztof Piątek from Milan. He came to the capital club in Germany on a €22 million transfer fee. This brings us to a closer look of how much money each team spent and some other categories that we have for you. Hertha BSC being actually the top spending club in the winter transfer period worldwide, ahead of other examples like Manchester United or Napoli. The done deals up left, you see 40,854 deals were done and a total spending was €1.54 billion. The highest spending clubs, as we said, Hertha BSC from Berlin with €78 million is number 1, ahead of Napoli and Monaco, who spent €60 million. Then at right top, total spendings in the top 5 leagues. Once again, it's the Premier League with the most money spent in the top 5 leagues, €227.8 million, ahead of the Serie A, and following in third place, the Bundesliga. And now the most valuable signings of the top 5 leagues, meaning the players with the highest market value that changed teams during winter. Christian Eriksen, we talked about him a lot in our rumor mill. Then he finalized his deal from Tottenham to Inter Milan, his market value at 90 million euros. Bruno Fernandes going to Manchester United on a market value of 60 million euros. His transfer fee was 55. And once again, Erling Haaland, 20 million euro fee only. His market value stands at 45 million euros. Former Borussia Dortmund striker Paco Alcácer left Dortmund for Villarreal on a 23 million euro transfer fee. And Bruno Guimaraes is the top gun in market value, 20 million euros. He went to Olympique Lyon on a 20 million euro transfer fee. As we can recall from the last chart, the Premier League once again invested the most money in winter transfers, bringing us to a new category, taking a look at a top team by position of the highest winter spendings. And we start in goal with Darren Randolph, who went from Middlesbrough to West Ham on a 4.7 million euro transfer fee. Then, considering a 3-5-2 formation, it's in the defense. Tariq Lamptey on the right, the 19-year-old coming from Chelsea's under-23 team to Brighton and Hove Albion, 3.3 million euros. Pablo Mari, the Spaniard, 26 years old from Flamengo, the Brazilian champion, on a loan fee for 5 million euros, going to Arsenal until the end of the season. And, as you see here, Sam McCullum, the 19-year-old from Coventry City to Norwich City, but leaving the Premier League team right away, back to Coventry to play the League One season until the end. His transfer fee 4.15 million euros. In central midfield, we see Sander Berge, the Norwegian, 21 years old from KC Genk from Belgium, going to Sheffield United on a 21.5 million euro transfer fee. And the biggest transfer in winter, Bruno Fernandes, finally landing with Manchester United on a 55 million transfer fee from Sporting Lisbon. And on the other side, in central midfield, it's Josh Brownhill, 24 years old from Bristol City to Burnley, 10 million euros. On the wings, we find Daniel Podence going from Olympiacos Piraeus to the Wolverhampton Wanderers on a 19.6 million euro transfer fee. The 24-year-old Portuguese now Premier League player. And on the right side, Jared Bowden from Hull City going into West Ham, 21.3 million euros. And in attack up front, Steven Bergwijn from PSV Eindhoven in the Netherlands to Tottenham on a 30 million euro transfer fee. He already scored in his opening game, the opening goal in a 2-0 victory over Manchester United last weekend. And Mvana Samatta from Tanzania going from KC Genk to Aston Villa, 10.5 million euros, bringing us to a total signing and loan fee for all 11 positions of this team at 185.05 million euros. Other prominent transfers not making it in this squad due to more expensive signings on their position include, for example, Liverpool's Takumi Minamao, who came in from Salzburg on an 8.5 million euro transfer fee. Manchester United most certainly would have liked another addition in this top team, but fell short in their quest of signing an adequate replacement for Marcus Rashford. Now it is Odion Igwalu who carries the burden of scoring at Old Trafford, just as he did most recently in Chinese Super League with 46 marks in just 72 games. The 30-year-old former Nigerian international is coming in on a loan deal until summer from Shanghai Greenland Shenhua on the very last hours in the winter transfer period. Not even a medical test was issued for Igwalu due to a pressing schedule. As British newspaper Times reported, since Rashford's injury, close to 100 names were linked to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. The most prominent names were, for example, Edinson Cavani, but he decided, as well as, for example, Erling Haaland, to stay with Paris Saint-Germain. The Uruguayan striker wasn't allowed to leave the French capital. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself, at the latest, favored fellow Norwegian striker Joshua King, who has a decent season so far for Bournemouth. According to the Times, the Cherries' price tag for the 28-year-old King was 40 million euros, twice the transfer market value for the former Blackburn Rover. Too much money for just 2 goals and 3 assists so far in 16 league matches. So it is Odion Ighoalo for Manchester United. Deadline day is history, but our rumor mill is always working. So let's check out some of the latest stories in international football. Starting with Leroy Sané, who continues to be a main summer transfer target for German champions Bayern Munich and intends to arrive in Bavaria in July. As German magazine Sportbild found out, the 24-year-old's departure from the Citizens to his native country Germany was not yet finalized due to a change in Sané's management. Since the injured left wing cancelled a contract with David Beckham's agency at the end of last year, his new partner LIAN is not allowed to negotiate a transfer until the 1st of April, when Sané's notice periods end. The former Schalke wing, who just played 13 minutes this season in the Community Shield, stands at a market value of 100 million euros. His contract with Manchester City runs until 2021. Also Manchester City, but probably arriving at Etihad Stadium, if reports from English newspaper Sun are correct, could be Inter Milano's Milan Skriniar or Lewis Dunk from Premier League rival Brighton & Hove Albion. Due to some injury issues this season, the Citizens are set to want to strengthen their defense. Skriniar has played in all but 1 competitive games for Inter in the Serie A and Champions League. And Lewis Dunk, who stands at 20 million euros in market value, is the Seagulls captain for Brighton & Hove Albion and also a regular starter. Gareth Bale rather sees out his contract with Real Madrid than leaving for the Spurs. As his agent Jonathan Barnett told TalkSport, the 30-year-old Welsh will not likely join the Spurs in the next 2.5 years. Especially his wife and his kids, who have grown up in Spain, are very happy in the Spanish capital. A visit from Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy in Madrid supposedly didn't have the purpose to talk about a deal for Bale. A lot has been said by people who don't know anything what is going on, Barnett stated, neglecting ongoing talks between Real and the Spurs. Bale has been playing in the Spanish capital since 2013. His contract runs until June 2022. His role under manager Zinedine Zidane has been reduced to a non-regular player for the Royals. Real Madrid, but also PSG related, is the quest of Major League Soccer expansion team Inter Miami for new stars. Founder David Beckham sees Luka Modric and Edinson Cavani as possibilities. As Miami manager Diego Alonso told Spanish newspaper Marca, Inter's ambition for their first season is to win the championship right away. Therefore, the club founded by David Beckham needs quality players like Luka Modric, the MVP of the last World Cup in Russia. He has up to date an expiring contract in summer with Real. There have been reports, though, that there is already an extension until 2022 agreed on, but not publicized. Edinson Cavani wasn't allowed to leave Paris during winter, even though a few teams like Atletico Madrid and Manchester United were interested in the services of the 32-year-old Uruguayan striking legend, whose contract runs out in summer. Maybe a deal just before the MLS starts in March seems more suitable for PSG manager Tuchel, who wouldn't allow his part-time striker to leave the French capital. And again, Marca, the Spanish newspaper, has a story seeing Chelsea right-wing Willian signed by Barcelona in summer. The 31-year-old Brazilian has an expiring contract at Stamford Bridge and thus is available on a free transfer for Barca, who supposedly has already tried to sign the Seleção player before, with Chelsea not allowing one of their key players to leave. Willian so far has 31 games for the Blues in all competitions this season with 5 goals and 5 assists. Virgil van Dijk leaving Liverpool? Hard to believe, but according to British newspaper The Sun, a possibility. The 28-year-old centre-back for Champions League winner and quite certainly upcoming Premier League winner Liverpool is the most valuable defender in the world at 100 million euros in market value. As sources of The Sun have found out, Serie A side Juventus Torino is willing to pay 175 million euros for Van Dijk to add him as a last key figure in their quest to winning the Champions League title. Let's see how this works out. And as online outlet Goal reports, Brazilian talent Pedrinho will join Benfica Lisbon in summer. The 21-year-old right wing for Brazil's Serie A side Corinthians has a market value of 15 million euros. Benfica, according to Goal, will pay 20 million euros for Pedrinho and in return will send newly acquired Colombian winger Yony González on loan to Corinthians, who also acquire the buying rights for him after next season for 3 million euros. Apart from Benfica, also Borussia Dortmund was said to have been interested in acquiring Pedrinho. The last category of the day, our news section, where former Chelsea striker Salomon Kalou didn't get his wish to be hired by Aston Villa. The 34-year-old told German paper Berliner Zeitung that his transfer from Berlin club Hertha fell through because of issues with a working permit. As he stated, he would have loved to play, especially for his former Chelsea teammate John Terry, who now works as an assistant coach at Villa Park. The Ivorian left winger had 254 games with the Blues with 60 goals and 44 assists. Kalou, who recently has been sent to Berlin's second team by new coach Jürgen Klinsmann, now hopes to join an MLS team in the near future. Their transfer deadline in the US top tier runs until May 7th. Good news for Bayern Munich's Robert Lewandowski. The exceptional striker received the Polish Player of the Year award 2019. It is for a record 8th time that the 31-year-old is honored by Poland's prestigious football magazine Piłka Nożna. Lewandowski had an outstanding year 2019 with 48 goals in 48 competitive games for the German record champion. Lewandowski was also number 8 at last year's Ballon d'Or. And bad news for Bayern Munich. 31-year-old Croatian international Ivan Perisic broke his outer ankle in training and is at least out 6 weeks. The fracture was already screwed together, but healing time will take up to 4 weeks, with recovery training following after that. Perisic, who is with Bayern on a loan deal from Inter Milano, has been instrumental in Munich's strong play after the Bundesliga winter break, especially since other wingers like Gnabry or Coman were recovering from injuries themselves. And that's it for this week's edition of Transfermarkt TV International. I hope that we leave you well informed about the latest rumors and news in international football. And I also hope that you join us next week for our next edition. Thank you very much for joining. Have a good one.